Welcome to our lovely future humans and our 5D collective. To those who do know all about being yourself and therefore emotional intelligence, mental intelligence, we're going to start with I'm attachment trauma educated. If you're new, you don't know it, and we're going to chit chat about something that I started with our short. But first, if you don't know effective realism, it is when powerful emotions feel like irrefutable facts. Thank you, Kristen Lindquist. And as she points out, it feels like they are truth. So when you hear someone say, I like to believe about what is right, now what feels right, that's a human being who is doing effective realism. I was broken free of it when I was 8. I noticed a teenage boyfriend was doing it when he was trying to tell me that the only reason I believe in God is because I'm afraid of death. And I was like, no, I feel it in my bones. Why do I know what I was feeling? Because when you are a body that has the mind and you're connected, so securely attached, non-traumatized, self-led person here, you will perceive that which today all of those who are attachment trauma educated will know, as Dr. Daniel Siegel points out, it's a mui. And if they don't know Dr. Dan Siegel, they might know Terreal. And as he points out, it's a biosphere. And if they don't know any of that, I'll tell you as a mystic, it's our oversoul. And if they don't know that, Tara Brach talks about us connecting as a globe, meaning our nervous systems speak to each other. And Stephen Porges connects to that too. So long story short, we're a part of the same species and we do have a frequency. And it's not in the way of music and that sound, even though I do love sound. But FYI, so I'm woo-woo pseudoscience lady, but what I'm trying to say is we are actually a frequency in the way of somatic empaths. That's the best word. So sciences share how we will pick up on each other. As a mystic spiritual one, I have my stories for you, but I also have science that can explain to us how this thing works, and that's great. So science and spirituality here come together. They unlock the best life you could ever have. And as an 8-year-old, I said I'm going to help people to live their best life, and I meant it. And I don't sell crap or shit. And I do spot the liars, which is why they're not charming. They're actually charlatans. But I also know that people are like, but you, mystic, are charlatan. No, I'm not. But hey, you don't have mystic experiences, so I get it. So if you ask me about the difference between a guru and a cult leader, I already know you don't know what a leader is, because you would also know what guru or cult would be. And cult, really, because of all of its negative connotations, leads me to let you know it's Diego's family from Ice Age. So it doesn't really matter what the word is. What I'm going to know is the minute someone is saying all of my data is right, sure it is. You keep talking, especially once you've isolated yourself from the research academics that are of now. So anybody who has taken themselves out of the game, you ain't no leader in my book. You're a person who wants me to hear your subjective opinion, and you've decided to take yourself out of the field. So you don't count. That's how it works if you're intelligent. Leaders stay, and then they're not afraid of continuing to have what is called intellectually speaking conversations. So when someone thinks that they are, when people doubt our human species evolution, it's because they don't actually know from here how humanity works. And humanity is a part of the kingdom of God and the kingdom of nature, and nature doesn't ever auto-distinguish itself. So while, yeah, we have a lot of imbalances, the ones who are all up in arms and race are the ones who consistently are bringing forth conversations with the lack of the one element that makes a true leader, equanimity. They lack calm-centeredness, therefore they have no discernment. A person who's intelligent will notice it because they will bring to me what they like and don't like. And so now I have a tainted picture. I have your distortion, your timbre is clear, the fact that you will reject and refute any of your colleagues makes it even clearer. I'm not dumb. You think I'm dumb? I ain't dumb. The only ones who are dumb don't think they're dumb because they like what they hear from you. Well, I don't need to feel threatened by those who are on opposite sides of a coin because they're both oblivious to each other in a way of being completely obvious to those of us who know what we're going to leave behind. A legacy of A-gamers, and we're not worried about tomorrow. In my case, because I, as a mystic, am an Akashic record reader, I'm a downloader, you all know this, all of it, but I also look into science. And you know what I know about science? I know about economics. and I know about smart, and I know about technology, and I know a lot of things. And so anybody who's going to say, let's stay behind, sure, you keep on doing that. That's great. Yep. You know exactly how to move into the future. I see you so great. It's not even funny. That's about as far as it gets, because any smart human being will know exactly what the future is going to have. And again, it's not unclear, and there's no monsters that are going to be tainting anything, because when you use monsters, the whole evil thing and these words, it's for children who continue to play a game that is something that I don't actually play, because I know who God is and his children are perfect. The B gamers chose not to become their perfection. His healthy perfection apparently was too hard, or becoming a high performer was too hard. So they didn't want to do the hard work to get themselves healed and become themselves first. They also don't believe in love at first sight, or they don't believe in love at all. They don't believe in kindness. They don't believe in a lot. They believe in one thing. Yeah, they definitely believe in that humans are selfish and dumb or auto-destructive or some shit like that. So you'll spot the ones who have their faith in humanity broken. The ones who know what quality is are not going to be actually falling for the self-help lack professionals. I'm just going to let you know that. You know why? Because emotionally intelligent people learn really fast about how to also discern, because here's where what works will show results. And what doesn't work is I can't motivate you to wake up in the morning, make the best of every day. I can help you to be a person who understands that unknowns, uncertainties, unexpected, and unwanteds of life continue to happen. And if you want to talk to me about intelligence, then you know self-regulation, then you know emotional resilience. Then you also know mental resilience, which is also why you're not a manager of yourself. You're a master and beyond. You're curious and willing and wanting to be more of that blissfulness state. So it's not actually something, being yourself, that I would need to, what's the word? Yeah, drag a pain point around. So there's no pain points for being yourself. It's people wanting to enjoy the inner world that they bring forth. So when I started HP, people are like, why would they need you? They won't need me. They'll want me, because they're going to want to hang out with people who deal with unknowns, uncertainties, and unexpecteds with open hearts while going with the flow, because they are going to be enjoying their emotional resilience. It's amazing. It's amazing. So you're not a leader nor a grown-up. This is for the people who are not noticing themselves, because they have no self-awareness, they have no accountability, they were set up to fail, they have no self-regulation skills, and some don't want it. And so with that being said, anyone who identifies as a leader, an adult, a mentor, guide, an educator, a professional, somebody who wants to say they're going to carry responsibility, then you're going to carry the responsibility of bringing forth that which cultivates the A-game qualities of our lovely human species. And so our future generations, they can tap into their infinite higher human conscious potential thanks to that which is the entire creep of science, modern day therapists, and more, neuroscience, neurobiology, reveal God's perfection. The only ones who refuse it, I got to get told, it's because God doesn't need science and you are going to be rejected. And I didn't think, oh my God, I'm so upset that I'm rejected. I thought, wow, yeah, God doesn't need science, yet his children, some of them are scientific, and the fact that you wouldn't know that, and that you would hear words from people who then, by the way, go and use science, that's called, yes, manipulation, hypocrisy, people who fall for just random people speaking because they're wearing the very whatever it is that, oh, that's my group, our group has to be right, which means you are manipulable, like the back of your hand and the front of your hand, which is what an adaptive child part is, because you just didn't notice the lack of coherence, the lack of integrity, the lack of truth, the lack of consistency of somebody who's speaking words and then bringing to you that which is an inconsistency. The only ones who don't notice inconsistencies the way that I'm telling you are the ones who are okay with being lied to, because they had a bad gut to begin with. So they were lied to begin with, which is why they had bad grown-ups. Those grown-ups taught them lies. And they didn't teach them how to self-regulate. So yeah, when I see what bad grown-ups did to bad children, they weren't bad children. They were handled by bad grown-ups. They were all bad. But I'm not supposed to cast a stone. So they're all lacking self-awareness, accountability, regulation. And as modern-day therapists know, it's not their choice to be drama kings and drama queens. So please, let's remember, A gamers are not stupid. B gamers, we don't actually hang out together because, well, they have a low emotional and mental intelligence scale, so they don't like our ventral energy, which is why we don't need protection. Actively, when people have a bad gut, they're consistently attracted to the same people, like Diego's family from Ice Age. So it's really not it's not like, oh my God, I just discovered, alchemy. That I'm trying to say, it's common sense that low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive aggressive, people who are not securely attached, they don't feel comfortable with co-regulating. And they definitely don't feel comfortable with those of us who do know how to be in our ventral energy. They don't like that we're always on a high. They like low gratification dopamine hits, and then they like to make up bullshit in their minds and continue to make a good team and a bad team. So they continue to play that, which is basically like Barbie games, but they don't want to see that way. So leave it, again, to the ones who are delusional. No, they won't say they are, but they definitely are magical thinkers, like Patrick Tan would point out. And they definitely don't let go of relationships that don't work. And it's not about the twin flame thing. It's more than just that. So yeah, I'm a mystic. I'll be telling you some stories in a bit. But yeah, anyone who identifies as a leader, again, and they don't know how to be aware of themselves, that's obvious to us that they're not a leader. They're just a leader for the ones who also didn't notice themselves. Without self-awareness, accountability, and emotional regulation, one cannot truly support the growth of oneself, others, a society, a country, or the globe, or globes for that matter, let alone prepare children to become capable, independent individuals who can make it on their own with intelligence and integrity, as our infinite higher human consciousness potential allows us to do. Whether you call it God's perfection or, in scientific terms, our human biology. When these qualities are absent, what remains is not wisdom, but inconsistency and unexamined behavior. And again, as Patrick Tan points out, they will continue to hold on to relationships that don't work as they save themselves, and stories, narratives. And I see it to this day. I see, as a person who mentors, content creates, podcast hosts, but above all, walks the streets with my loved ones and beyond. There are my facade friend. He's one of them. I've shared with you many stories of his, and to this day, he gave up on himself. His choice and his story was so that he could stay in his comfort zone. And so I'm going to say how dishonorable it is for those who want to call themselves leaders when they lack the capacity to discern what effective realism is, so how their emotions, so strong, are not facts. And I want it to be whatever it is right now. It feels right, as that is, you're all feel. I'm all feels. And this is the person who's pointing out the people that they don't like because they also believe you can't cry on a screen. And they also then go ahead to say that enlightenment is a trap, like a Zen master. So those who are not capable of accessing all of that which is their inner world don't believe in enlightenment because they don't know how to cry, get angry, get afraid. They don't know how to be a child inside of themselves. That's how simple it is. When you lack the capacity to notice yourself, I'm bringing it down to planet Earth, meaning I don't need to use all the fanciest words all the time. When someone can't be themselves and they're faking it, they will go and continue to be a capricious little kid as they hear information they don't like, which is ridiculous to a 45-year-old woman to see people like that. And I'm just like, not even, I don't have words. I have no words to describe. Where's Goaf, whatever his name is, to see ignorance in action. It's like leaves you speechless. They all think I'm an idiot. I'm watching all these people, which is why Buddha and I have a thing, because he's making fun of me because I'm spotting them by the mile. And I'm like, yeah, and what did you do, though? You sat under a tree. And I forgot, Buddha. I'm sorry. I forgot what time he came in. Then Jesus came. Now we need our future Buddha to come. It's come on, people. Get it together. So anytime you're hearing... as a mystic, the 4D, 3D collective, they're always with some story for you. The 5D collective is grounded in reality. One way, shape, or form, they all know science, spirituality come together. One of the most recent ones was amazing to hear as they're like, you know what, ascended masters, archangels, all of that, and whoever it was that existed prior to becoming, they all were flawed, imperfect. In fact, it all makes sense when you look at God's perfection is, I'm going to encourage, comfort, support, and strengthen, so the ones who like to give us the timelines of those books, it's like, yeah, I can interpret that if I wanted to, but first, in the meantime, neuroscience, neurobiology proves there's no demons, evil, anything inside anybody's body. 2, this entire sphere of consciousness, when you go and look at it, is that they all will have different ways they tell you what it's made up of. And so if someone is afraid of the low frequency, what I'm going to say is stop making those shitty ass movies. Stop living all that crap that people are wasting their time in, because that's exactly where I can spot it like a hawk, like in college with people who are fucking and miserable. Or thinking fraternity sorority are cool. No, it's not cool. No, you're actually allowing people to do disgusting shit. And what kind of self-respect? You have none. That's very clear the minute that you're going to allow yourself to play some dumb game and think of it as cool and then whine about it or not whine about it. And it's like, okay, how many immature people do I got? And now I'm attachment trauma educated. I didn't need to get attachment trauma educated to notice what they were doing as dumb. I just now know how to tell you they don't have their body, they're subconscious. Yep, they don't got their mind, they're conscious, and they want to look at me as if I'm coming from, well, I do come from the future after all, but I'm woo-woo pseudoscience. My point is, when I got looked at weird for wanting to stay friends with my ex-boyfriend, teenager at the time, and the girlfriend, and who are now partners, I'm like, what do you mean? What? Don't you want to drag her down? No, I don't want to drag her down. What are you talking about? Do you not know me? I said yes to Jesus, God, Holy Spirit. Why would I want to drag anybody down? First of all, she is not to be blamed for the cowardice that he chose. Second of all, they're my friends. I chose to become friends on purpose. Third of all, they didn't do anything to betray me. They just made a choice, which, yeah, it's going to come back and bite them in the ass, but that's not my shit. And when it did, I actually did everything I could to make sure it would be all cleared away, because that's how we do it in a herd, like Manny, Diego, and Sid, meaning nobody's going to harbor resentment for something called a cheating and or more incident. You know how minuscule it sounds to an empowered woman, man, or they, the whole cheating business, especially, thank you, polyamory community, for existing, although it's existed for a while. The words "till death do you part, sickness and health, for better for worse" don't mean anything to me when I see a bunch of people not knowing how to do it. Thank goodness for Terry Real out there making men and women into real men and women who can hang out together, talk about feelings, and maybe one day become actual couples who can share who they really are. It's a sad story to hear how many people don't want to be vulnerable with their partner in therapy, and then to understand why. Because they didn't get gifted the capacity to manage their emotions skillfully as kids. Like this beautiful person who's I need to spotlight her again. She's making a very great 1 hour and whatever podcast episode. And she's like, you're going to start teaching emotional management skills by the time your kid is a kid. And I got to know all about it because, like Gabor Mate points out, you need to be able to express all those basic emotions without needing to work for love or be afraid that you're going to be kicked to the curb, which is where a bunch of people don't allow a child to be angry in a way that will be not shamed or sad or in the afraid. Okay, so yeah, when a child is the codependent, they need to be allowed to. And there's a bunch of people who don't have the patience for it because they're not managers or masters of their own emotional plane. They don't know how to self-regulate. It's not monsters that lead people to being morons. It's actually people who didn't know. We didn't know all this stuff. We know it now. Now we have two groups of people. Yeah, the ones who want emotional intelligence because they want also emotional mastery. Because they want to be vulnerable. Because they want to co-regulate. Because that's their human body's actual, that's what we were made to do as a herd. And the ones who are against us because they think that we plotted to get all bad with nature, sure, no, ignorance is not bliss for that reason. So as long as people have an issue with being a human, they're going to find every little bit of what are our flaws and imperfections as something that is to be pointed at. Shame, blame, fault, revenge. That's what low emotional intelligent people do. It's Cain and Abel. It's a consistent story. Just give each other scarlet letters, not you guys, but that's the point. So they lack integrity, objectivity, and self-awareness. They also lack the capacity to be grounded in reality and recognize with science, history, geography, all the subject matters that there's no need for any of the conspiracy. If you look basic on the floor, you're going to know why we made the mistakes we made. That's what equanimity sounds like, and discernment. And that's what it sounds like to be a child who's also a grown woman who knows a bunch of different subject matters. And no, I don't know all of them, but I know enough of humanities and social sciences to know, yeah, I don't believe in conspiracies, because the minute you will put the person that you think behind it, Schopenhauer, come and make yourself seen. If you want to appeal to the large audience, appeal to the masses. I saw the masses run off of Facebook after that, which was a shitty not docu anything, and that was the last time I ever took advice from any of those who think that they're great at what they do because they fell for it and said, that's good quality. Good quality what? There ain't no good quality. Did you not notice the music? Did you not notice the story? Did you not notice the ending, the actual ending? When they give you this very suggestion, get off of there and go and spend time over here. So off of social, but onto the fake world that I would be locked in, that I have a facade friend of mine who was basically almost ready to give up a bunch of his money and actually fly away. And I'm like, okay, listen. I said, stop, please. Let's not do this again. Your Achilles heel is killing me. No. Thank goodness he was broke, because that's the one reason that everything went to shit, because he had no money to be stolen from. And so when you meet those who have a bad gut, like Bezel van der Kolk points out, you don't talk sense to your friend to not marry the wrong person. I wasn't trying to talk sense to him. I was just saying, look, this is a fake world. I don't know. Have you ever seen them? No. So there, it's not real. You don't know it. Stop. So as an adult, what I can say is I'm happy I'm here for the children, the teenagers, but what I can tell you is there's a bunch of them who already don't really want any of that, which is intelligence. It's amazing. No, it's not. It's completely unamazing. So the adults who are not able to remain equanimous, yes, they're not wise. They're not good mentors. They're not good guides. They're not good educational. No, because educating and teaching and supporting people to grow, children particularly, means you give them all sides of everything, not just what you like and not what you don't like. And then you know how to notice, I have biases. I have charges. You know what? I have a preference and not a preference. I'm going to explain it. I know all these things because I got to be taught by a grown human being called mother. This is what it looks like when you got manipulative people. This is what it looks like when they try to bring you to their side. And it wasn't because of anything except for make sure you're an independent thinker, an independent feeler, and you don't let anyone con you into trying to be a very exact replica of them. And that's why I still argue with my very primary caregiver. I'm not you. You gave me the right to be me. By your words, mother. By your words, mother. I love you to death. If she watches, sometimes she watches my content. So, self-sufficient individuals who can one day make it on their own, they need a good gut. I got such a good gut that whenever I see the morons, I have not been using this word for a long, long time, but today I decided to use it, because they're not leaders. They should be ashamed of themselves. They're not. And I am definitely not going to cast a stone. I'm just going to say self-righteous batons will not be in the future, because thank goodness, knowledge is what always thrives. And teenagers don't listen to those who are ignorant anyways. So at the end of the day, they're going to have two sides always to choose from. Do you want to be an A gamer or you want to be a gamer? You want to be a B gamer, that's fine. You're going to be a B gamer. We got laws that protect us. So I'm not afraid, for example, of anything that will be the future personally, because hey, dark matter, dark energy don't implode. And as for everything else, God always wins. So the free will thing. Yeah. Do you think that you would actually have the capacity to choose? So here's how I'm going to break it down. I told this person who's like, why would God give us spinach and chocolate when he would know that people would choose it? And I said, don't you know? If you don't know what is better for you versus what is not good for you, what kind of a life is it? I mean, you have no choice. And don't talk to me about God being the reason for the evils and all that. So here's once again when people are like, but the bigger, if there was one, then everything would be easy. So everything would be perfect. Everything, yeah, this is the rooster or the egg. Okay, so for me, God's perfection is that you get to choose. Are you going to be a person who chooses to live a life of meaning and connection? Right here. Thanks, Dr. Dana Siegel. Beyond the solo self. That's what true spirituality is. And so when I hear some of that, which is lovely Sadhguru, he's talking about living a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating life. He just doesn't have the human elements, which is what I call psychology, sociology, humanities, philosophy. You bring it all in. And so the people who only have a story and forget what they're made of don't know how to get back to who they are, but that's because they didn't try to in the first place. The people who did the hard work or didn't need to are going to be back at IHP, because it's all self-led. Self-help helps the people who help themselves. And yeah, sure, we're selfish, all right, but not the way that some people think we are as human beings. Because if there's one trait humanity will always have, is to help each other to get off the fucking floor. And if they don't, there's a reason for it and there's an explanation for it. There are psychopaths healing. So psychopaths heal, narcissists heal, the sociopaths heal, and some say the sociopath is not parts of sociopathy, psycho. All of those who are in spectrums heal. The only group who thinks they don't, well, I'm not surprised. But when they read to you their interpretation of data, and then they tell you, my colleagues are all against me, that's your cue. My colleagues are all against me. It sounds like siblings were fighting, and now one team is, nobody picked me. They didn't pick me, and that's why it's capricious. So when someone tells me they're grown up, if they're whining about their colleagues or professionals or anything, I'm like, sure, you're grown up. I don't think you know what grown up means yet. I didn't know what grown up meant until I became a full-blown grown up. And look, my 3-year-old, she's still here. Why do you think I say grown up? And I'm still very disappointed in the grown ups who are not true, good grown ups. Bad grown ups, you're bad. That's how childish I am, but that's how it works. It's like, wow, you really want to leave your children more ignorant than before because you don't know how to use your brain? Yeah, I'm going to spell it out. Effective realism. It's really I have no words for it. I got broken free when I was 8, though. I'm lucky. So all I can tell you is I have no words for when I am around seeing things online. And I'm trying to master respecting the B gamers because that's exactly what they are. That's it. They're not monsters. They're B gamers. They'll be okay with being B game. Hey, not everyone wants to be an A gamer. You can be a B. Hey, you can even be a C. How does that? You know what? I'm going to D, E, F. I'm going to start giving the grades that way. As you know, when they want to use the monster thing, it just gives them way too much credit. They don't have that credit. The monsters served our ancestors. They didn't have science. Science shares with us the truth. That's why they don't like scientists. I'm okay with being talked down to because I'm like, yeah, they didn't disprove anything that I got taught by God. Okay, he's chiming in. See, he does this thing every now and then. And, you know, for those of you who don't believe in God, please, I will respect. I mean, I did write 5D mystic stories. I will respect that you don't have my mystic experiences or any of our mystic experiences. And I know that 4D is going to be pretty pissed and it's not true. And it's okay. We won't fight with each other. At the end of the day, what's going to happen is that I'm a dum-dum because whenever somebody doesn't actually believe in something that is being brought to them that is different than what they wanted to hear or not want to hear, you see what I'm saying? It's a song that they don't want it to continue. They don't like having the human condition. They don't like having the two sides of the brain work together. They don't like being in the unknown. Into the unknown, I don't care because I already have like next question. I'm so curious about everything. And I'm not afraid of humans because I'm a human. Our species, it always wins. Oh, by the way, because also Jesus, as he pointed out to his disciples, don't be afraid of those who can kill you physically. They can't kill your soul. And since the ones who are spiritual, mindful, and mystics, we are not here to actually have pedestals. Nobody wants a pedestal. We're not God. Even when we're embodying a little piece of it, there's a piece of it. It's a piece of it. You haven't even, been, I mean, I have 45. I hope I have like 100 years. I want to live longer. I really do. We'll find out. God did say that I don't need to worry about dying too early. So this is how it feels to be yourself as a grown person with intellect. And it's not because you want to make sense to everyone. I don't want to make sense to everyone because I'm not trying to have to make sense to everyone. I am looking to build a community of people who like to do self-help, mindfulness, mindset, to have fun together, laugh, and to know that we leave the future behind better than yesterday always. And the children will look at those who do leave to them one of two examples: how to be the best version of themselves with love, emotional maturity, because they have mastery, not management, mastery skills. So when I see those who don't even know how to manage themselves, I have to leave them alone, which is why God taught me not to play know-it-all. That's also why he kept me away from people, because you better bet this person right here, like I yelled in my facade friend's face, all I asked you is to be yourself. In the absence of being aware of what a rejection abandonment mood was, you better bet you're bottom. There's a number of things, and I would today at this point be very, very upset at me, but I wouldn't be guilty, meaning I was not knowledgeable. So what was I supposed to do? I didn't know anything. I didn't really actually know what weakness meant in the human being body. That wasn't like co-regulating with another human being. I didn't know it was that deep. Now that I do know, I know why. Yes, we won't be near people that actually don't like ventral energy. And wait, you actually don't get seen by them. This is very hilarious. Meaning you don't believe when it happens. As a 5D mystic, I had heard 4D say, you won't be seen by the others. It's like, yeah, we will. And a friend of mine who's 4D, like, oh, let's do tarot. Let's do coffee readings. Let's do everything. I'm like, no, this is not the place to do this. We will be seen. No, we won't. Yes, we will be seen. So that's how 4D falls for their own blah, blah, blah. I knew, I was like, there's no invisibility cloak. But it's okay. They won't do anything. Maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed we don't get any ignorant ones, because then we're in for it. But hey, they're big, so I'm okay. I'll run. I'm like, I don't know what they're doing. No, that didn't happen. Long story short, point is, this other person who didn't see me, I actually felt like a ghost. I was like, I know I'm not a ghost. I touched my friend. I was like, can you please point him in my direction? There's something about this thing. I'm talking in his face. He doesn't see me. Bethany Brown and Ruth Lania. Science explained it to me. When you have healthy self-worth and you are securely attached and non-traumatized and you're using prefrontal, I'm looking into your eyes right now, even though I can't see you, and my right mode is connecting to your right mode, which is why when I've told people, sometimes people that have attachment wounds, they flare up and then they don't like me. Like, yeah, that makes sense, Maria. And I was like, yeah, so are you ready for, the therapy I was telling you about? Because I do personal growth and spiritual growth with you, but you can also do the therapy. No, I'm handling it just great, Maria. Okay, yeah. They're not handling it great, but they're happy with their B game. Yes, and this is one of the many human beings who consistently knows a lot but doesn't actually get themselves to get to their best life. So it's very sad for me. I don't laugh because it's funny. I wish that they would hear the therapist who says, don't call them drama kings and drama queens or hooked on their anxiety. That's not nice. Hey, why don't you go talk to them in their face? How about that? Go watch as they inform you of how they're going to live their lifestyle in your face while you say, look, I love you. And you know everything I know, so I'm just gonna honestly ask you, how should I handle this right now? Because I really don't know. So this is what happens once you get attachment trauma educated and your personal growth, spiritual growth mentor, and you're like, look, therapy is better, then we can do the rest. No? Okay, look, let me help you once again understand. Self-regulation doesn't come out of nowhere. Like you really, and even once you're done, after all that beautiful hard work, someone's, I want to do the rest, Maria. And you say, well, the rest actually would make you really over that hump and into your blissfulness. But hey, I won't make you be yourself, because seriously, I'm not going to. So yeah, when people don't want to be themselves, you leave it alone. As for the children, they're going to get to choose. I have to tell you, I did allow myself to admit failure. Yes, I fail miserably because I can't make you love yourself first, because I can't make you want to motivate yourself to self-regulate in your ventral vagal state, because we can't make human beings want to be their true self, because that's how scary it is for them to self-regulate, meet all of themselves, integrate. It might take a decade or so. So yeah, you can't actually force anyone to love themselves first, which is why when someone says humans are selfish, yeah, not the way you think, but you better bet the low emotional intelligent ones are definitely selfish, like my facade friend, who basically didn't hear a word I said, and when I'm yelling in their face, all I asked her is be yourself, and now I have an explanation, which is why I'm a better friend, because now I don't have to yell at pretenders anymore. And when people get off of your panic attacks, when people also pretend to know what they're talking about, when people compete, when it's basically a little bit of a Cain and Abel shit going on, it just gets so boring that you don't perceive it anymore, because it's not betrayers or liars. It's a bunch of people who could totally have taken themselves seriously enough to go get healed. So yeah, you leave it alone. But when I have to see the charming ones on Michael Stone's evil scale, they're not charming to intelligent minds. They're buffoons, they're charlatans, which is why I don't ask what's the difference between a guru and a cult leader. I'll always know what the difference is immediately. That's how it works when you got a good 3-year-old girl. Thanks, Mom. I know when I meet a charlatan, because she showed me how she would stand up for my twin and I when a grown-up abused their power of being a grown-up by bullshitting their way, having us cry, being mean to us, and anybody who doesn't like it. Spoiled brat. Yeah, you know what? Screw you, spoiled brats. That's not a word that you use with children. That's a word that the grown-ups who have no patience for children will use. And, hey, somebody wants to continue treating children like pieces of shit. Well, we all know how they were treated, which is why I am not impressed by anybody who wants to be with Diego's family. It's also why they won't be near us, because they won't like anything that we are at all. That's okay, though, because, I'm pretty sure my ancestors cut off Elvis's legs on purpose, and then they started to talk about demons and devils and evils again. And, well, anyone who's going to continue looking to the good and bad in that way, they're not going to be here. I heard 3D4D would stick around. Now I'm just trying to settle into that and to try and let you all know who the 5D is. I wondered for a long time. Now that I know, I'm getting better and better at realizing emotionally intelligent people, because they're mentally intelligent, they also do care about the future. So we're not trying to spread rumors about anyone, but we're also not trying to get it perfect. Also, smart consumers don't waste their money on bullshit. They will know exactly how to spend their money, because that's what makes a person an A gamer. It's not because we don't fail at learning. No, we fail. There's no failure. You learn all the time. Oh, I've consistently learned. And yeah, Twin Flames is no saga, believe me. Every time I think of that, better bet it's a good thing I was kept far away from people. Because, when you think that the way they describe to you your oversoul is in such a way that you will actually not look at each other as mirrors, because that's not how an A gamer looks at the world. You're not a mirror of me. I ain't a mirror of you. We are differentiated selves. You do you and I do me, and it's great company. You have your personality patterns, your temperament. You got your shit going on. I got my shit going on. That's it. We come together because we want to, not because we have to. So the minute somebody, on the other hand, is actually not anywhere near being able to be, you don't realize it until you do. And when you do, luckily, again, it's very good news for a person who likes to not do the wrong thing. So you leave children with their options. The grown-ups will leave children with the options. Sadhguru gets asked, who leaves from the science community humanity with more, like who would you consider a spiritual one or something like that? And he mentions Darwin. And he says it's because he gives humans the continuation to grow. I'm going to say our human biology, our neuroscience, neurobiology, our modern day therapists, they're all really awesome. So they all point to God's perfection, his children. They also all point to, when we meet unkind, immature people, what they're doing. So, at the end of the day, it's not really a battle. It's more of the ones who want to bring in the A game of humanity will continue to thrive. The ones who are okay with the B game will continue to thrive, and they will manifest. And God enjoys that his children have free will. You can choose chocolate or spinach, or you can choose to be smart, and therefore you know that I want some spinach and I want some chocolate, and that I know that I'm not a one-size-fits-all, and that smart experts, scientists, spiritual, mindful, whatever word, will always be honest and authentic and say we know some things but not all things. And yes, sometimes books are written wrong, and sometimes they're written, and then we continue to build that which is called knowledge, and then we continue to move into the future, and there you go. And so it's a very straightforward equation. There's no need to watch one's fucking back unless one is making a big deal out of something that effective realism does. I want it to be well, but it is right, it feels right. Sure you do. Yeah, you're all feels, but hey, let me not tell you that, because you won't believe me anyways. And so you don't talk sense to the ones who are using their ego. They use half a brain. It's okay. They could use the entirety, but first it would require them to get connected to their body, which means their 0-8-year-old, to become vulnerable. Like I can tell you all about my little child here who says, bad grown-ups, shame on you. Bad, bad, bad. Yes. And I also know how people like to manipulate their words. The pseudo-intellectuals, they get a picture and then they start pointing and then they say this, and then they use their lovely words, and then they use their dictionaries. This is what this means. And look, and then they take things, and then they, what I love is they create they paint a picture for you. In the meantime, I'm like, yeah, some of us aren't fooled by the aesthetics of the external. We know what's inside. Timber of truth. Yeah, that's it. It gets easier with practice, with time. So come back over if you do enjoy doing mindset practices. We like to be discerning, equanimous, and loving. The children, all the ones who know that are brothers and sisters, they can choose to change their mind, and go head on over to brave children, like the ones who heal with Patrick Tan, become their reparented version. Maybe at one point or another, give us the honor to meet them, and actually be okay with the fact that we are already forgiving people that they might not be okay with forgiving yet, So it's not a waiting game. It's actually a game of life. We all play it differently, and God, He is amazing. So is Jesus, as He shared. We all can forgive, and we all have the kingdom. And it's not a controversial issue. Whenever you meet the ones who like to make it into a good team and a bad team, I'm like, where's the controversy? You mean to say some people have a way of interpreting the books and interpreting the you mean to say so yeah, no clashes with intellect. It's more like, wow, this is an amazing conversation today. The ones who need to have a point be proven, they're not going to be back here. Yeah, they like to use their time in very small superficial ways. It's like right or wrong, that's it. I need it to be in a box. Chicken or egg, rooster or egg, which one came for meeny miny mo? Oh, the Fibonacci spiral. Remember, we had that for the full moon. So that's how it works. When you're opened up to even more, you're like, the cosmos. That happened to me after my second Kundalini awakening by my third twin flame, and nope, nobody got to hear about the magical experience, but I did. And I still remember it was opened up to it was like being in the middle of space, but I wasn't. It was in my brain, or it was in my mind. It wasn't in my brain, actually, excuse me. It was amazing. And the feeling, and I knew, I was like, I've been just open up to more. I know, I wonder what's going to come next. And now you're getting to hear a little bit about it. So, meantime, I'm going to let you all go. It was a very exciting day today. Thank you for stopping by. Be yourself the smart way. Allow yourself to know that the B-gamers didn't choose to be set up for failure, but they did choose to commit to that which is called their desire to not expand, like my facade friend, to believe in themselves, but it's not their fault because they weren't raised to believe in themselves in the first place. But this is the song that doesn't end. Do you see why a healthy perfectionist can be annoying like the back of the hand to anybody who doesn't want to achieve their A game? I totally get it. All the teenagers on the bus wanted to punch me, and I didn't care because I would have ratted them out. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never harm me. And on Friday, when they booed me for asking for homework, I'm like, yeah, I'm not dumb. I got places to be, things to do, things to learn, and I'm still learning. And if there's one thing I could change about Maria's past, have more intellectually smart, expanded, emotionally intelligent people and mentally intelligent people around me. That's all. So we'll be back with more. Have a good one.